Welcome to Mission Imperfect, the podcast about navigating the twists and turns of life and embracing the imperfections of the journey.
We're your hosts, life coaches Catherine and Kirsty, and our mission is to support you in finding your own path, your own way, with greater clarity and self trust, no matter how messy or uncertain things may seem.
We address the roadblocks that come up time and time again for our coaching clients, from acceptance and boundaries to values and well-being and everything in between.
As well as asking lots of questions, a coach's favourite thing to do, we'll be sharing thoughts and insights and offering plenty of tips, tools, and techniques for you to try.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to grab a cuppa and a biscuit and join us in getting lost in finding ourselves.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Mission Imperfect. So this is another tips, tools and techniques follow-on episode about blowing your own trumpet. So of course we want to encourage you to be able to blow your own trumpet, having discussed why in some cases it's actually a good thing to do. And we need to perhaps celebrate a little bit more, don't we, Kirsty? We think about our achievements and how we feel about them.
I think so, yes. I mean, the obvious question here is why not? Which I think we did address in our previous episode on blowing your own trumpet. So here we are with some suggestions as how you might go about doing a bit of trumpet blowing and feeling comfortable with it. I think that's an
Yeah.
important thing. A lot of us do feel uneasy saying, "Hey, I did this thing," for all the reasons we previously discussed. So let's start by considering how you feel about somebody you love blowing their own trumpet. Because, I mean, if you're glad that, your child, your partner, your friend wants to share their pride with you, and you want to be able to celebrate their successes with and for them, then why wouldn't you let them do the same for you? Why would you assume they wouldn't want to do that for you? So,
Yeah, it's a good
why
point.
not?
It's
Why
like,
not model that behavior that you like to see in others, and especially as a parent, I guess, showing your kids that it's okay to say, "Yeah, I did this, and I'm proud."
yeah, it's like sharing good news, isn't it? We love to hear
Yeah,
good news, and yet we often there's a lot of bad news. Let's be honest, we can always
isn't
find
there?
examples of
Yeah,
bad news. So in a way, sharing an achievement or something you're proud of, it's like the sharing of good news, allowing people to feel uplifted for a moment. And actually, that thing about as a parent encouraging the sharing of good news and that you will do the same, I think that's actually quite positive on two fronts because it's showing what pride in an achievement can look like. So
mm.
perhaps not like the bragging that we spoke about last week, but also it's showing that it's good to be happy for someone else as well, isn't it? That you can
Absolutely.
be empathetic and supportive of someone else's achievement rather than just concerned with yourself. So I think it's for demonstrating that as a parent, I think you're building both self-esteem and empathy, which are great qualities to boost.
Yeah, that's a really excellent point. The empathy there, being able to join in with somebody else's joy and celebration, and to want to do that and to encourage others to let you do that. That's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
So another thing you can do is consider how you feel about someone who plays down their achievements and who you feel you always have to big up. Because to be expected to constantly boost someone's ego can be pretty draining and frankly boring, can't it? Sounds a bit
Yeah.
harsh, but I think it is fair to say that everybody likes and probably needs a bit of that sort of ego boost and validation once in a while. But to be brutally honest, it is not fun to be around someone who is constantly needy of validation, is it?
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, if you can't see anything positive in yourself, that is quite draining because it feels like you're literally having to pop them up to show them any positive sides. I
yeah,
mean, it thing is, as in most things, it's nice to have a bit of a balance, isn't it? And we feel that we might be more likely to skew to the negative side, but let's pay a bit more attention to the positive side. And we certainly don't want it to be a scale of 0 and 100, do we? 0 for the positive and 100 for the negative.
no, I mean, inviting someone to share in your celebration is often way more enjoyable for that person than being needed to push you into celebrating, isn't it? I mean, would you rather spend the evening with a friend who's celebrating what they feel is a job well done, or with a friend who's crying into their beer because no one's told them it was a job well done?
Yes, definitely. And I think I like the idea of, sometimes celebrating some of the smaller moments. We're in the middle of a heat wave here at the moment, and both of us haven't managed to melt, quite frankly, which I
I'm
think
not
is
sure how I
quite,
achieved that, but I'm
I
celebrating
know,
it.
quite an achievement. And, in a rough week, when we might want to be crying into that beer, sometimes we can overlook something great that we did still manage to achieve. I think that's a really important point to make, that yes, we're going to have ups and downs, as we've always spoken about, but don't let the downs perhaps totally cloud out something that was positive as well that happened that week.
Yeah. And maybe you celebrating something or sharing your joy in something will make somebody else feel better too. Give them a boost, some good news, like you mentioned earlier. Having said all that, it's I think it's important that we recognize the difference between constantly banging on about how wonderful you are and sometimes sharing that you're proud of yourself. Because I mean, when you tell someone, I'm so excited I got the job, they even said I was an outstanding candidate, is a very different kettle of fish to delivering a long-winded account of how brilliantly you exceeded every requirement, all the clever things you said at interview, all the amazing feedback you got, and not just from that interview either, and how they know they're lucky to have got you. I mean, that we don't want to hear that mostly, do we?
No,
But
I think I'd want to tune out about. I mean,
yes,
it's funny, isn't it? Because really, the crux of it is it's great news. You've been offered the job. Second
yeah.
part, of course, is do you want to accept it? That's always an interesting other part of the
Oh,
equation. Like, how do you feel
good
about that? And
question.
is it a job
Yeah.
that you want? But yeah, I don't really need to know all of the ins and outs of every amazing answer that was given, and so on. I think that's a bit of overkill, perhaps.
It is, isn't it? So when I think a lot of us probably have somebody or have known somebody who does tend to go a bit overboard in letting you know how wonderful they are. And that does get wearing, doesn't it? You know, the person is always telling how great they are about how they've done this, that, and the other. Everyone thought it was amazing and was so grateful and so impressed, and they did it better than anyone else has or could. I mean, is this sounding like a certain American president we might
It,
know?
it
But
really is, yes.
But I mean, most people do not do it to that extent, even if they do it a bit. But yes, that bit is wearing annoying, deeply boring. But to say, I achieved something. I'm really pleased with this. I'm really proud of this. I did this. That's great. That is something that the people who really care about you are going to go, yay!
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny when I heard you say about this, a person that would say they did it better than anyone else could, and the word amazing popped up. I thought, oh, yes, who does this sound like? And I actually thought, do you know what? I actually don't think I do know someone in real life like this. I really don't. It's funny. I think I know far more self-deprecating personalities than
Yeah,
this one. But I have to say, I'm quite glad of that. Although I do really like to encourage people to celebrate successes, but I think because it's done in that much more sort of muted and let's be really proud of this, rather than the going on and on and on, where you just think, oh, come on now,
yeah.
seriously, enough
It,
now.
yeah. So, I mean, sharing a specific achievement, being honest that you feel good about a certain aspect of yourself,
Yeah,
that's a positive thing to share with others. As parents, we don't want our kids to present everyone with a long list of their positive traits and achievements, um, but but we do want them to be able to tell people when they're proud of themselves and to feel comfortable expressing what they like about themselves. And if we want that in our children, why do we so often feel that it has to be stifled in adults? And a really important thing to help with a little bit of your own trumpet blowing is to stop mind reading. I mean, we've talked in a previous episode about the dangers of mind reading, and this, I think, is a great example because I suspect that we're often put off from sharing our success because we worry that they'll think we're showing off or that they won't value or understand our achievement or our feelings about it or that they'll be bored or jealous, etc., etc. In short, we've decided that we can read their minds, but we can't.
yeah, and in fact, as we've touched on, sometimes it's the very opposite. You share your positive news, and it can boost someone else's positivity too, and
Mm,
then they can possibly think, oh, maybe I can have some of that too, or also acknowledge something that they've done that they've just been reminded of by your share as well. Like, for example, if you're sharing something that's, perhaps it's one of those small wins, someone else might think, oh yeah, I've had one this week. How cool is that?
yeah.
And the one that they perhaps forgot about. And the truth is, maybe you just need to try it, to be honest. If you share something positive and small, see what the response is. Like you said, don't
Yes,
worry about the mind reading part. You might get a mixed bag of responses. That's the truth. But if someone gives you that positive response and you can see it's had that impact on them and they've remembered something great, then isn't that a great case for doing a little bit of trumpet blowing, I think.
definitely. Definitely a great case. And it leads us nicely on to our final point, which is remembering that not all people react in the same way. And that is about them, not you. I mean, if you've got someone in your life who does tend to react negatively to news of other people's successes, then fair enough, don't share with them. But don't assume that everybody else is the same. If you wouldn't behave like that, don't assume that everybody else will. And their reaction is often not about you. I mean, if you hit someone with an exciting announcement when they've got, I don't know, a raging headache or they're going through a particularly difficult time, their reaction may well be a lot more muted than you were hoping for. But it doesn't mean that they don't want to hear it or that they're not happy for you. It may just mean that their own circumstances make it hard to meet you exactly where you're at. Not that they
Yeah.
aren't pleased for you, not that they don't want to hear it. And I
I think
think,
it comes a lot down to intentions, doesn't it? When if we don't let it stop us from sharing, I think that is really the point we want to make. You can judge your intentions as being, I have some good news to share, rather than it being about putting anyone else down. And sometimes it may be a good time and a place for that sharing, and other times it may not be. But you'll only know that once you've done it. I think what we're saying is don't let any sort of mind reading or other elements that might be at play put you off from just sharing some good news from time to time, because most people, I think, are pleased to hear good news for other people.
yes, it's those glimmers that we need to look for in the world, isn't it? The more that we can
Yes.
see, the brighter the world is. So, just a quick summary then. If you are feeling a little hesitant about celebrating an achievement, a success, about being honest about, what you like about yourself, what you feel good about, then first of all, consider how you feel about someone you love blowing their own trumpet. Consider how you feel about somebody who always plays down their achievements and you always have to big up. Recognize that that celebration of success is not the same as constantly banging on about how wonderful you are. Stop mind reading, assuming that you know how somebody will react and that it's negative. And remember that not all people are going to react in the same way, and that's about them, not you. So take a deep breath and have a little blow into that trumpet.
Absolutely. And if you want to share one, please do. We
Yes.
always read any comments that are left on our podcast episodes, and we would love to hear about your successes and we'll be celebrating with you. But on that note, I think that's it for this week, and we will see you all again soon for another episode. Take care. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Mission Imperfect. We'd love to hear your thoughts on any of our episodes, especially if you've had a light bulb moment in answering one of the questions, have benefited from one of the tips, or have a suggestion for an episode topic.
And if these conversations have made you curious about how coaching could help you, please don't hesitate to get in touch with one or both of us to find out more about what we offer. Until next time, keep being imperfectly you. No one does it better.